Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Karen, and in this video I'm going to talk about the books that surprised me this year in a good way. So the first book that I want to talk about is actually a middle grade graphic novel series, and that is the Stonekeeper series by Kazu Kibuishi. Yeah, it's actually called the Amulet series. I'm seeing it right now. I read the first 3 volumes of this middle grade graphic novel series and I fell in love. It follows the sort of standard, typical, fantastic storyline where there is a girl that loses one of her parents, and because of this they have to move her and her family to her grandfather's home, and this home is kind of like a portal to another world. And in this world, people are being turned into animals. And the graphic novel is just gorgeous. The art is stunning. It's so adorable and cute. And when I first picked it up, to be honest, the first volume I gave it 3 stars because I just felt like it was very basic and sort of tropey. But really, once you get to like the second volume, it just becomes really amazing because the world is really built and you get to see a lot more of the story and where the story is going. The first one is kind of like super introductory, but after that I was totally hooked. I think there are maybe 8 or 9 volumes as a whole in this series, and I don't think that the series is finished yet. Like I said, have only read the first 3, but I really enjoyed myself. I mean, the graphic novel has a badass pink bunny. I mean, what more do you need? I think that kids will really love it. The second surprise is Pleasure Bound, Victorian Sex Rebels and the New Eroticism by Deborah Lutz. I knew going into this book that I was going to enjoy it, but I did not expect to love it as much as I did. It was one of my favorite nonfiction reads of the year, and it's all about the Victorian era and kind of the underground world of pornography and of sexuality, and it was really a fantastic read. I was not expecting it to be so heavy on the literature and on artistic movements. There was a lot of talk here primarily about 2 different groups. One was the Pre-Raphaelites movement and the other was the Cannibalist Club. So these were groups of gentlemen in the Victorian era that had a lot of money and that were really kind of dirty old men, to be honest. They were really into their pornography and they would collect them. Even though they were kind of obsessed with pornography and obsessed with sex, these men were incredibly important in just the progression of society, you know, into being a more open-minded kind of world. And I enjoyed every bit of this book. I thought it was fantastic. The introduction of the book gives you a really great sense of where the book is going. So if you pick it up and just read the introduction and think, oh, well, I'm not really interested in this, then it's not going to be a book for you, because I think that, and it's definitely one of those books that gives you a lot of information in the introduction and that stays within the topic. It doesn't really go outside of it. You have talk in here about Rossetti, you have talk in here about Dante, you have talk in here about Oscar Wilde. So it was just wonderful. It was a fantastic read and I deeply enjoyed myself reading it. There's also some really interesting stuff in here about LGBT rights and about homosexuality, and I mean, some of the stuff really blew my mind. There was actually at one point in the Victorian era, a theory that related homosexuality to the weather. So for example, some people thought that, hey, if you live in Italy, you are more inclined to lean into homosexuality, and if you live somewhere like London that it's very cold and gray, then you are more of the heterosexual type of person. And it just kind of ridiculous things that arise out of the lack of knowledge. And I would recommend this book to anyone if you are over 18. Another graphic novel that really took me by surprise was The Arrival by Shaun Tan. I, to be honest, went into this knowing that it was going to be a beautiful, silent graphic novel, but I did not expect to be so incredibly moved by it. It is about what it means to be an immigrant, how difficult life is, and how you find these incredible people when you're an immigrant that really reach out and help you. adored this graphic novel. Like I said, it really tugged on my heartstrings. It made me incredibly emotional being an immigrant myself. And it is a graphic novel that I think so many people would just really, really feel a connection to, especially because of the fact that it's a silent graphic novel. And I think that that is just so brilliant, that a story about immigration is told in a silent form, is told only through pictures, because that means that regardless of your language, regardless of where you come from, you can understand this book. You can pick it up and you can feel something while looking at it. And I thought it was absolutely brilliant. My next surprising read is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I think that's her name. Let me check. Yes, that is her name. This is a dystopian book that usually I never go for dystopian, but this was amazing. It really follows a group of theater people, you know, people that have this traveling theater group that they go through different towns in this dystopian world. And it was just beautiful. It goes back and forth between the time before this epidemic happened that was a reason for this new world, this dystopian world, and the new world. And I just fell in love with it. I was incredibly impressed. I would read more dystopian if more dystopian did dystopian this way. I just said dystopian so many times. But there was just such a lyrical form to this book. It was dystopian in a way that felt incredibly realistic, because yes, I do believe that if something catastrophic like that happened, people that love art would try to maintain it. They would try to keep that alive, because art is so incredibly important. It is a thing that moves us as human beings, that makes us happy, that makes us sad, that makes us feel connection. And this book really is about the beauty and the joy of art and of culture and of theater and of plays. And I thought it was just absolutely stunning. I was so impressed by it, and I know that it is a book that I will read again. And my final surprising read of 2017 was The Girls by Emma Cline. This is a book that is fiction, but it's heavily influenced by the Charles Manson murders. If you guys don't know what that is, in the 1970s, a cult really horrifically murdered a group of innocent people in California. And this book is a fictionalized tale about a cult that is incredibly similar to that one of Charles Manson. And you follow this girl. It's set in 2 timelines. So you follow her when she was a young teenage girl and was a part of this cult. And oh my god, no, the sun suddenly went away. Okay. And you also follow her decades later. I went into this expecting it to be okay, but never in a million years did I think it was going to be as enjoyable as it was. It was really good because knowing the Charles Manson story beforehand, you know what's going to happen. You actually know who these people are meant to be and what horrors they're meant to commit. But the book really keeps you on the edge. I think it's one of the better paced books that I have read this year, and I know some people may disagree with me, but for me, it felt like the pacing was quite good. It never felt too slow for me, never felt too rushed. And I think that when you are tackling a subject like this, the pacing is incredibly important. I thought it was fantastic. I thought all of these books were great. You know, that's one of the most wonderful things about a reading year, right? When you read books that you went into them not expecting much, and then you're like, wow, this is an incredible writer, this was an incredible story, or these characters were fantastic. So I think that I had some pretty great surprising reads in 2017. What were some of your surprising reads? I would love to know. Tell me in the comments if you can. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a lovely day and a very happy new year. And yeah, okay. Well, see you very soon. See you in 2018. See you next year. Oh my god, I can't believe the year is over. This is insane. Okay, so have a lovely day and bye.